Hello, my name is Crazy Owl, and today we're back on the survival world, and we are going to be starting our little town base. That was my plan to do, and also looking at the mesa. So if you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe because we only need 2 more subscribers and then we're at 10. Otherwise, hope you enjoy. So originally I was going to have our permanent base, which is, as I said a minute ago, going to be a little town, but I was originally going to have it be here, but now looking at it, I'm not really a huge fan of this house. I think it's a little bit too flat, and there's not really enough detail and stuff, so I have designed another house that we're going to build, not in this taiga biome, though the taiga is a very cute biome. I think it would fit better in a forest or a plains biome, and there's a plains biome just this way that I plan to build it in. Plus, it's near the village, so transporting things and going there will be a lot easier. But before we start building that, there's something I want to show you, and you'll actually notice on the map that there is a mesa. But that takes too long to walk to. So I connected up the nether to the mesa, which I discovered while I was exploring. And rather than having to run around in a dangerous place like the open nether, I built a little room. So this is the ladder down to the regular nether, and then this is the hallway to the mesa portal. And it's a lot faster to go down this hallway, turn, and then get to the mesa than to actually walk all the way there, which takes like 10 minutes. So I'm going to finish heading there and then see you guys in a minute. Even though it's not the prettiest room, this is the portal that leads to the mesa, and you can actually look on the map. I know it's through the controls right now, so it's probably hard to see, but that little red thing is me, and it turns red when you're in the nether, but it's a map of the overworld, so it doesn't turn into a map of the nether, which I think is nice. And then, I don't know if it'll be night once I get here, but I do have okay, it's not night, but it's evening. So this is the mesa, and the mesa, though it's not the best biome to build in because all the leaves and stuff and grass doesn't look very good, terracotta is most popular here. Not popular, very common though. And it's a great building block, at least some of the shades are. I wouldn't suggest using something like pink terracotta for building, but most of the colors of terracotta work fine. And for the build that we're doing today, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to use regular terracotta, so I'm going to collect some of that and see you guys in a minute. I got a hold of almost 2 stacks of terracotta, and though it's not too much, we probably won't need much more than it either because I'm not making the entire build out of terracotta. I'm kind of randomizing it with other blocks. So now we're going to go back home. I plan on eventually building ice roads in the nether just because it makes travel a lot faster, but right now there's only 2 locations that I have to get between, soon to be 3 because I might join up the new base with the old base through the nether, even though it won't take that long to walk it. But either way, for now there won't be too many locations, at least not that I have to visit frequently, so I'm going to leave it without the ice roads for now. But when I do, I did find a frozen ocean biome a little while ago, so that will be helpful. The main blocks we're using today are dark oak wood, spruce wood, and bricks, but the bricks will be randomized with granite and probably terracotta as well, but I'm not 100% sure about the terracotta. Even if I don't use the terracotta though, it'll still definitely be useful to have some on hand. But I'm going to craft up a couple stacks of bricks and grab the granite, and then we're going to head to the plains biome where I plan to build. We have the bricks, the granite, the terracotta, and the polished granite, and we also have the dark oak, which we'll need for lining the roof, and the spruce, which will be the pillars. The only thing that we don't have is oak logs, which I'll show you why we need them later, but for now we're pretty much ready to go. I'm going to toss away the blocks that I don't need just so we can have a cleaner inventory, but I'll see you guys in a moment when we're in the plains biome. Okay, so this right here is the place where we'll be building this house. Um, I pillared up a little bit just so that I can show you, but in a minute we'll start work on it. But first, before we do, I'm just going to give you a quick peek of what the build's going to look like in my planning world. Okay, so this is an exact map of what the build is going to look like, except the interior might look a little bit different, but that's not our main focus for today. I don't know if we'll even do it in today's episode, but you will notice that the oak logs are in the roof, and that is where we'll need them. There's a little chimney, which is also made of the same block as the walls, and then this is where the spruce is, and this is where the dark oak is, and we'll have glass. If I can find some black or white dye, I will use black or white stained glass, but regular glass works as well. But let's get into our world and start work on this. I think the first thing we should do is probably map out where the pillars are going to go, just for the sake of making sure they're in the right spot. And also we want to have room for like trees and stuff, because if you're building in this style, it's very important to make lots of terraforming, or it looks a little bit too plain. And this style also tends to be relatively smaller. It looks plain, but when you build smaller homes, it's really cute and really nice. So the shape of this build, the main shape, oh, I made an error there. It's not too complicated. It's sort of like a cross or an X, sort of, or maybe a plus sign if that's how you want to say it. It depends on how you look at it, but it's sort of two rectangles intersecting each other. But that is basically the frame, other than this side. I still gotta do this side. I'm gonna build it up so that each part is 4 blocks tall, and then come back. So this is the main frame for the house, and basically for the walls, it's just randomizing this. So how I like to do it is, because the main block is sort of bricks, I like to start with the bricks and build up a wall, but obviously it's not just going to be bricks. And then what you do is you break out 2/3 or 3/4 or half of them, depending on whether you want your wall to be mostly bricks or almost all bricks or even. And then I sort of want it to be more bricks than anything else, but still only like half bricks in all. Or not even that, less than half bricks, but I want it to look like there's more bricks. So I'm just going to throw some stuff down, and then I kind of want the least of it to be polished granite. So that's sort of how it's going to be. It might change up depending on just where it is, but that's sort of what an example of one wall might look like. But you can add more terracotta, you can add more polished granite, you can do whatever you want with it. And of course you could also do different types of stones, like diorite or regular stone, or you could even use terracotta or something like that. There are plenty of things you can do in this style. Really, the only things that are required is that the roof has to be full blocks. The outline should be stairs, but the actual roof should be full blocks. I just kind of like how it looks. It has to be relatively small, and there has to be pillars outlining it. But I'm going to fill in the rest of the walls, so see you guys in a minute. Okay, so now we have finished the walls. And the last step, not actually the last step before we start the roof, and you could do this afterward, but I just like to get it over with now, and that's knocking out the spots for the windows. And I have some glass melting here that I'm going to use to make the windows. If you already have some on hand, of course you can use that. I am going to craft it into panes just to give this build a little more depth, but other than that, it's not much more complicated. You're going to want to knock out the windows every other block, so that was a mistake. I did not mean to knock out that one, but there should be a space between each window, and it should sort of look like this if you're building a 3 wide wall, and that if you're building a 5 wide wall. This is not including the corner pillars, because you want a gap in between the corner pillar and the windows. And in some build styles, you can sort of build windows where you want, and you're supposed to do the windows after you do the interior. But because of how this build style is, you have to do it right away. But if there is a spot that you don't want to put windows, you could put like a little shed on the outside, or you could just put a tree really close to the house that sort of hides the spot where there is no window. So there's of course exceptions to that rule, but it should sort of look like this once the windows are knocked out. And once you have enough glass, then craft it into panes, and fill in the spots. Now, this will be covered by logs on the top because I like to make almost a cross section when I build the roof. I don't know what it's called, maybe a cross section, that's what I just called it, but I don't think it's actually called that, so don't go calling it that to other people, but I don't know. So fill in all the window spots with glass panes. Be a little bit careful if you don't have silk touch, but otherwise you don't need to. Or if you just have a lot of glass. I have silk touch and a lot of glass, so I honestly don't care. And then this is where the door is going to be. If you're building with the same blocks I am, I really suggest making the door out of dark oak because it works really well. So I'm just going to do that right away. And for the roof, you're going to need some oak wood, which I don't have too much of, but I'm going to gather some from over there, and hopefully I'll have enough. I got just over a stack of these oak logs, and what I suggest doing for this is crafting them, not all of them, but some of them. I'm going to craft, I think, half of them, 33 or so. Actually, then I'll have 33. Okay, that didn't work how I thought it would, but either way, you're going to need some that have it on all sides because you don't want it to be all in the same direction, and you'll also need some spruce planks for the roof. But for the first part, which is the outline, you're going to need spruce logs, not for the outline, but for part of it, and you'll also need dark oak stairs. So I'm going to craft some of these up quick. And unfortunately, you'll actually lose stairs because of how Minecraft logic works, but hopefully not too many. So I have 28 stairs. That might not be enough. It might be. I'm not sure. But hopefully it will, and even if it isn't, honestly, there's not really much I can do about that. I'm not a Minecraft developer. But it's basically just a normal A-frame roof. There's not anything special about it. Except, I don't know if you consider this special. You might have done it before, you might not have. But when you do the very middle block, this does have to be an odd number wide if you're going to do this. But when you do the middle block, you're going to turn it upside down like this, and then do one above it like a stair, and it looks like that. And it just kind of adds a little bit more to it. So I'm going to finish framing the roof, and then I'll be back. Now this is what the frame of your roof should look like. You'll notice that I also added some stuff up here. That should be easy enough to follow along with. You just kind of build one up and then build across so that there's sort of a frame. That's what I was talking about before with the cross section or whatever it was. And then if there is space, then you put more brick stuff up there, but only on these sides there was space. Over here there really wasn't. And then on the actual roof, I suggest starting by filling it in with regular spruce just to make things easier to start with, I guess. So I'm going to craft a bunch more just to make it easier because I do think you'll need a couple stacks. And then start by just filling it in with spruce. And then once you're done with filling it in with spruce, I'm going to pretend I'm done with this. You're going to break some of them and replace it with, like, oak. And you can, like, build it off the sides and stuff, or build it in whatever directions you want. So just try to make it look more textured by adding this. And then I'm going to finish the whole roof off camera, and then we'll kind of do a final viewing. Here is the house in its entirety. I'm going to do the interior and exterior off camera because I think it'll take me a little while and we're kind of running low on time. And also, if you're interested in learning how to do interior and exterior decorating, I do have videos on that already. So you can look probably in the videos tab on my channel or on the building tutorials playlist to find those. Um, if you're looking for a video on how to do small interiors, leave a comment. I can definitely make one because this interior is relatively small compared to the one I use in the video, so some of the tips might have to be different. But other than that, there's not much else to say, so goodbye, and if you've made it to the end of the video, please subscribe. I mean, why haven't you yet? If you really enjoyed enough to make it to the end, well, most people only make it to the first 20 seconds, so it'd mean a lot if you would subscribe.